what I'm doing here is this fender used to be on the body. It's a bad fender. It's got a number of problems. It even has bullet holes. The bullet went through this way and came out here. The other bullet hole is actually two. Bullet went down this way and then came through here, shredding that and coming on out. And so I have ended up cutting that off, and I have put this fender on. But the lesson for me, or the lesson in life in some ways, I guess, is if you can see, it's pretty rusty. And when it comes to welding, the weld will not take very well unless it's clean. This is just a soft pad that sticks on by Velcro, and embedded in the pad are man-made diamond chips, so it makes it so that I can sand that without eating a lot of the metal away, but get it clean and be able to get it ready for welding. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't do a little of this. As a kid, I made a profession of faith, and I wanted to follow Jesus. And in fact, I went so far as I heard a speaker, and I just thought it would really be awesome maybe to be in the ministry in some kind of way. And I told God in prayer, you know, I'd like to serve you. And that was like, you know, junior high. And then it comes time to, when I turn 18, I have to register for the draft. And of course I'm thinking, you know, boy, it's kind of a scary thought, and I will register, but I start praying, Lord, you know, I don't want to be drafted because I want to serve you in ministry. And I cannot imagine how I could serve the Lord in ministry and at the same time go off to war and, you know, fight in battles and stuff. I'm thinking peace, you know, brother, and I want it to be really nice. The truth was, I was scared too. I didn't want to go to war. I mean, you know, guys could kind of die or something. I was telling God this is what I wanted, okay? And see, in the process, I'm thinking about preparing my heart, kind of like preparing the metal. And so, anyway, after some months, all of a sudden I get this letter that says, "Greeting, you are hereby ordered for induction into the armed forces." I'm going, holy cow, I'm going to get drafted. You know, as I'm going through basic training, I pray that I won't get infantry, because, you know, that's going in and fighting the battles and shooting the guns and throwing the grenades. At the end of basic training, 8 weeks of intense training, I got my orders for Fort Ord, California for advanced infantry training. I'm going, okay, I don't know what happened here. We miscommunicated here, God. But, oh, I've got an idea. I could be a chaplain's assistant. And my company commander in California heard that I was thinking about that, and so he would not allow me to see the chaplain. Now that is against the rules, but it didn't matter. I never got to see the chaplain. I was prohibited. I was thinking, you know, it's not fair that I don't get chaplain's assistant, so I'm praying that at least I don't get Vietnam. Maybe I can serve him throughout, you know, in the military somewhere, but not Vietnam. That's a war zone. I got orders for the Republic of Vietnam. And I'm going, man, I missed another one. On the way over, I met this guy on the plane, and we landed in Bien Hoa. We got sent up to Long Binh, and that's where we got assigned to a unit in Vietnam. While we were there, I was sitting around with this guy, and we happened to look, and there were plaques on the walls with patches. That's what's used on guys' shoulders. That's the units they're involved with. And he says, see that one over there? That's an eagle that says Airborne. He says, don't get assigned to them. They're one of the most active units in Vietnam. And I'm going, okay, Lord, I just pray that I don't get assigned to the 101st Airborne. And pretty soon they announced over the intercom, Williams, Stephen R. You're assigned to the 101st Airborne. Something's going wrong here. Everything that I'm praying for, I'm getting the opposite, or at least I'm getting what I don't want. Well, and I could go on and on about that, but there were things that happened to me in Vietnam that after a while, I mean some things, a guy 15 feet away shooting at me 3 times. How do you miss? I should have died. I had mortars land on each side of me, 5 feet either way. And I survived. And it was interesting that at one point I was sent up north because I was chosen Soldier of the Month in March of 1970. So I got a 3-day stand down. When I got back, we had a new guy that came in country, and he made sergeant stripes back in the States. Whereas they call it, when you make stripes in country in a war zone, they call those hard stripes. But if you make it at home, you know, that's kind of the easy way to do it. And so we nicknamed him Shake and Bake, because it's kind of like he did it the easy way. And Shake and Bake comes to me and he says, hey, they called me Sergeant Willie then after I made my stripes. And he said, hey, Sergeant Willie, can I talk to you? I'm going, sure. And of course, we're talking quiet because we're in the war zone and we're in the jungle hiding out. But anyway, he said, hey, the next time we're in a firefight, can I stay close to you? And I said, sure, I don't care. Why are you saying that? He said, well, I've been talking to the guys and they think something's watching out for you. And so if I'm close to you, maybe it'll watch out for me too. And that to me really hit me like a brick, because I really felt like something was going on. But I didn't know that the other guys were watching or keeping track of it. And so, make the story short, the way I was living was showing with these guys. They saw it. But I began to realize that I had opportunities to talk to these guys that they wouldn't go to other people. And in fact, a few years ago, I was talking with a friend of mine who was my Youth for Christ director when I was in high school in Topeka. We got talking about how it was always my dream after high school to go to college and then go to, I always wanted to go to Dallas Theological Seminary. I just thought that would have been so cool. And that didn't happen. And Don says, Steve, stop a minute. And I said, what? And he said, you went to seminary. It was just in Vietnam. He says, I'm in the ministry. And he said, you're reaching guys that I can't touch. You're reaching guys that'll listen to you, then they won't listen to me because I've been there. I realized, much like this old metal, it had to be prepared. I see that God was preparing me for the ministry, but I kept saying, I want it this way, and he says, no, we're going to do it. We got to do it right in order for this to work. And I'm going, but God, you're getting it wrong here. I don't want to go to this nasty stuff, and you know, and sometimes you got to apply heat, and sometimes you got to beat on it with a hammer, and holy cow, God, this isn't pretty, this isn't nice. And he says, this is the way it's got to be done. I wanted to read the verse for you that I was thinking about. This is out of 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. It says, in this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come to you so that your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may be proven genuine and may result in praise, glory, and honor where Jesus Christ is revealed. I think it's an illustration that God's got a plan, God's got a way, and it may be different than mine. It may look on the surface to be horrible at times, or at least difficult. And you know, if we just did it this way, it'd be so much simpler. But if we didn't fire the gold, or you know, we could just kind of maybe beat on it a little bit and kind of rub it and try to look for the particles, maybe that would be a whole lot easier than putting it through the fire. But we really don't get the end result of pure gold. And it's the same thing in my life. I had to go through some things so that God could use me in ministry. What I wanted, He was answering my prayers, but He was doing it His way instead of my way. I want this Jeep to be solid. I want it to look decent, and I want to have fun with it. It's got some It's got some life left in it. And I really believe that's the way it is with us and God when it comes to this other stuff. He's got a plan for us, but it's His plan, not my plan. In many ways you can look at it and say, wait a minute here, who's God? Well, He is, not me. Okay, that means I need to follow His plan, His blueprints instead of mine, because He knows where we're going and He knows how best to get there.